Constable. Welcome to this posing video where I am going to show you a pose I call the hip lift. Now, this pose is best performed wearing a pair of heels. I am wearing a pair of quintessential posing heels, which do not have a back on them, and these are the types of heels that I always recommend that people use when they're posing because it gives you more flexibility to move your foot around. These also have a slight platform, which makes them much more comfortable when standing or when posing because you're not tilted forward as if on stilts. So with the hip lift, you want to choose the side that you are most comfortable showing your glute off on. For me, it's always the right side. Now, unlike the side glute where you push into the glute but you don't tense the glute, in the hip lift, you do want to tense the glute. So you need to play around with the angle of the foot to get the best angle to show off your glute gains. With this pose, I like to turn the standing foot to about 1 o'clock. So you're facing slightly towards the camera, but not so that you're head on to the camera, because you obviously want to show off the glute. So press into the standing foot, and then you want to play around with the position of your underwear. I like to keep mine nice and high because I want to show off the glute medius, which I have worked so very hard for all year, performing glute bridges and squats. So press into the standing foot, and then what you're going to do is you're going to tense that glute muscle. Now, do you see how when I tense the glute muscle, the glute maximus disappears? That's because we do want to show this separation and this definition in the glute medius. So press into the foot, tense the leg, draw up on the quad, push the hip towards the camera and tense it like crazy. Now the back foot I like to bring up onto the toe. Now for you, you may prefer to have the foot a little more forward, or you may prefer to have the foot a little more back. I like to have the foot a little more back. Now again, like anything that we do in posing, you're always moving the hips and the shoulders in opposite directions. So the right hip is pressing into the camera and back, and the left shoulder is moving around so that the hips are pressing back, but the torso is staying moved forward, pointing forward, and the shoulders are twisting to make the waist look smaller. You can play around with the position of the arms in this photo. Sometimes I like to bring the back hand onto the hip. Sometimes I like to bring both hands onto the hips. Sometimes I like to have the hand behind me nice and relaxed so that it's pointing away from the body, but it's not covering the glute. If you have it here, it's going to cover all of your hard work. You want to make sure that it's a little bit behind the glute, but nice and relaxed. Your gaze can be forward, your gaze can be straight at the camera, or you can follow your arm with your gaze. That's another really great tip for whenever you have the phone or the camera on a tripod and you don't have to look directly at it. You can look away from it and create a lovely long line with your vision. So let's set that one up. You're going to press into the foot that's facing the camera. It does require a little bit of practice to get your balance. Then you're going to push the glute out, but tense the glute by drawing up on the glute medius. Inhale, press the hips back, lift the torso, lift the chest, spin the body around, relax the left hand, relax the right hand, and then maybe gaze a little down and over that right hand. Now, you may find when you're here that suddenly you fall out. That's perfectly okay. It does require an awful lot of pulling up on the muscles to set this pose up, and falling over is very normal in the beginning. Let's try the other side. Maybe your left side is your favorite side. So again, with the left side, you want to turn the foot slightly away from the camera. Then you're going to push the hip towards the camera, but you're going to pull up on the muscle. That's why it's called the hip lift, because instead of just pushing the glute back, you're actually lifting the hip up and tensing like crazy. Then you're going to bend the back knee, come up on the toe, think about your upper body, elongate the ribs, elongate the belly, lift the chest, spin the arm around, relax the right hand down, maybe gaze down over the left hand. Remember not to collapse into the chin. You want to keep the neck nice and elongated, maybe gazing back, keep the hand relaxed, tense the hip, pull in the belly, 3, 2, 1, and relax. These poses do take a lot of work to execute, so I want you to go away, practice this pose, and make it your own.